Well, he had women swooning in Sex and the City series. We loved him in My Big Fat Greek Wedding. He received Emmy and Golden Globe nominations for his work on Northern Exposure. Does he really need any more of an introduction? Mr. John Corbett, everyone. Welcome to Midday Kentucky, my friend.
Thank you, Troy. Hi. Hi, Lexington.
So you were just telling me off camera that you've been to Kentucky many times and you kicked your heels up, I hear.
In the early 90s, when I was doing Northern Exposure, my good friend Anina Madden invited me to her fabulous, crazy Kentucky Derby parties, and I think I went to 9 years in a row of Anita Madden's nutty parties and then going over to derbies. I know it well.
We hope we see you back here very soon. Now, I believe your accountant put you onto this movie. Tell me a little bit about that, your latest movie, All Saint.
My CPA has been with me for about 25 years, and he calls me up and says, "Hey, John, I got another client named Steve who wrote a script and he wants you to be in it." And I said, "Gary, come on, not one of those." He said, "John, I've never asked you for anything." I said, "Send it over." I read about 10 pages and I called him up and I said, "What's this guy's number?" Called up Steve Gomer, our director. "How can we make this happen?" He said, "If I have you, buddy, I can go get the money." I said, "Get that money." We got it in about 4 months, and we finished it last September. It's coming out Friday in 1,000 theaters.
Well, we're really looking forward to it. Now, it is based on a true story. Tell me a little bit about the background.
This fellow, Michael Spurlock, who I play, is a salesman. He's got a 12-year-old boy, a wife, and he decides he wants to become an Episcopalian minister. So he gets ordained. That's where our movie picks up. And his first assignment is to shut down a church outside of Nashville, Tennessee, in Smyrna, Tennessee, because all the parishioners have gone to the mega church down the road. He has about 12 left. First week in closing this church down, and they're going to sell the property. 30 refugees from Burma that have been in a camp in Thailand get relocated to Smyrna. They're Christians. And he accepts them in. When the bishop's council and his wife says, "What are you doing? We're supposed to be out of here in a month." And he figures out a way to try to save the church with these Burmese farmers, and he's got 20 acres, and they decide to plant a garden to feed the refugees and maybe sell enough to offset some of the costs. But you know, things don't work out the way you think they're going to work out. But they do work out in another way, and it's a beautiful, true story.
Yeah.
And
is it
that's
faith-based?
basically it without giving too much away.
Is it faith-based?
The company at Sony has put out 2 movies before, Heaven is Real with Greg Kinnear and one with Jennifer Garner, Miracles Can Happen. Miracles from Heaven? Miracles Can Happen. So they're calling it faith-based, but we worked really hard just to make a straight old-fashioned drama, kind of like one of my favorite movies, Tender Mercies with Robert Duvall in the early 80s. And so I think people who go to church are going to like it, but people who don't go to church, they're going to dig it if they like small movies that give you a little bit of a good feeling.
Well, John, we're going to change lanes a little bit right now. I'm not going to ask you the obvious question about Sex and the City in a remake, but I just found out that you also tour the country as a musician. Are you singing? Are you dancing? Are you playing an instrument? What are you doing?
We actually played the Tin Roof last year in Lexington. I have a country band now for 12 years. We put out 2 country records, the John Corbett Band. And in the last decade, I think we've played 750 shows.
Wow.
And that's what we do. We tour across the country for 3 and 4 weeks at a time, just playing venues like the Tin Roof. And it's a blast. We do a 3-hour show with no breaks. We go on at 9 and we come off at midnight, and it's a hoot.
Well, John, we appreciate you taking the time to speak to us today. Everyone in Kentucky will be definitely going out to watch you since you're a friend of the state. So thank you and all the best in the future.
Thank you, Troy.